Hey YouTube, it's me, Tifo Wilderness. Welcome to my channel and welcome to the second of this month's Korean toy reviews. Yes, I've got another Tobot V Mini figure to show to you today. And yeah, let's get on with it, shall we? Right, before I actually get into the video itself, I just want to say something up front. Now, I do know that the Tobot V series is a Korean show that was all done in Korea, but later on they dubbed it into English, and when they dubbed it into English they changed the names and some of the characters. And I have been criticised for this before, where I've done a review of the Korean original figure with the original Korean name. Somebody's come on and said, oh, you've got the name of this character wrong, it should be this instead of that. And I said, because, well, yeah, I understand that they've done this with some of the characters, and this character is one such character where they renamed him for the English dub. Now, his Korean name is Leo Kaiser, but in the English dub he is called Leon Rover. So I'm saying this up front of the video, so if there's any confusion as to the character's name, don't blame me, blame the people who changed his name for the English dub. And I don't want to see anybody in the comments giving me grief because I've got the character's name wrong, so I just thought I'd say that up front. Right, yeah, so box. Here's the box, Tobot V Mini Leo Kaiser. And yeah, you see, look, there's his name, Leo Kaiser, not Leon Rover, it's Leon Kaiser because this is the Korean original. Picture of his alt mode, his name in English, Korean Hangul, Tobot V logos on the side, picture of him on that side. On the back, CGI renders of the character and his various modes and all the product information on the bottom. Typical sturdy cardstock, large window, plastic clamshell inside, usual stuff. Comes with a sheet of instructions, single-sided, very simple, 9 steps, not much to it really. Right, so here he is, Tobot V Mini Leo Kaiser from Tobot V Season 2. Also known as Galaxy Detectives, because in the English dub they called it Galaxy Detectives instead of, Tobot Victory is what was its Korean name. But yeah, now he turns into this American style muscle car. Kind of looks like an old, like a Mark 1 Camaro, from the 1960s. Also, because of its very low sort of dropped stance. I think it looks a lot like Ken Block's Hoonicorn, that twin turbo Mustang that was super low that he used to do his gymkhanas with. And yeah, a quick moment for the passing of Ken Block. In recent times, he passed away recently, and a sad loss to the motoring world at large. He was an amazing driver with fantastic skills. Did all those crazy, sort of stunt shows, the gymkhanas where you take these high-powered performance cars and go racing around, industrial estates and stuff, and doing all sorts of crazy jumps. Amazing guy. Such skills as a driver. I mean, I personally would have liked to have seen him, drive for the WRX, the World Rally Championships. I reckon he would have been really good at that, but for some reason he never did that. So it's a shame because hard to get any American drivers in the WRX. But that's just my opinion. But anyway. Getting off topic a bit. Here we go. Cool looking car. Now, obviously, I've got the original full-sized figure. Now, when you look at these two vehicles side by side, I mean, obviously the direct size comparison, and you can see there's an obvious, size difference. And then, you look at the paint apps. Now, this thing, as you can see, has got quite a lot of paint apps. It's got painted wheels. It's actually got painted writing on the wheels. It's got, different coloured bits here. It's got paint trim around the windows. You go on the back, there's all this painted detail around the rear lights. You go onto the front, bits on the grille are picked out, front bumpers picked out, and it's got these little grills. The intakes on the hood are all picked out in paint. Quite a lot of nice paint detail. And then you look at the minifigure. It's got some stuff picked out. They've picked out the headlights. They've actually painted the VO1 thing there, which the big one's got as well. So they've actually picked out the badges on the side, even though on the other side it just says Tobot instead of the Tobot V. But yeah, No paint on the wheels. A lot of the fine trim paint is missing as well. Moulded bits under here aren't picked out in paint. Front bumpers aren't painted, and none of the lights on the back are painted. So yeah, it's missing a lot of paint in the alt mode, and this is typical of these Tobot V minifigures. They're simplified, scaled down versions of the big toys, and you know they're not as detailed or as well painted as the big toys either. So you know you've got to take that into account. But then again, these are cheap toys. I mean these things retail for about, was it 30-35 quid, and these retail for I think less, around about 10 quid. So you know they're about less than, probably around a third of the price of what these big ones go for in Korean retail, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, but anyway, there we go. It's a cool muscle, you know, like a 1960s muscle car, very stylish, cool looking thing, and you know, it's a decent downsizing from the full size original. So, transformation. Again, fairly straightforward transformation. First things first, it plugs together very firmly. You just break that. That then allows you to bring the arms out. You've then got this this bit here. You unplug it from the back, bring it forward and clip it into his chest. Tilt this this bit back, and then bring the arms up, and then sort of start folding the arms down. You then take the roof panels, hinge them out, and you'll see there's a little thing in there which you need to pull out, the claw. So you bring that out, and then it's on a double hinge where you fold it back round and it clips into itself on the outside of the arm. So do it again on this side. Got this top piece, you fold it out, there's the thing inside, fold that out, and then you fold that round the outside until it plugs in. And there's the top done, and the legs are quite simply, split the legs, straighten them up, and then you get these bits out the back. Just pull this big out, the hood of the car out, hinge it out to form the heel spurs. And there we have Leo Kaiser in his, well, mini Leo Kaiser in his robot mode, and it actually looks pretty good in robot mode. He's got a lot more paint going on, a lot more stuff picked out in details. This is pretty good. Now, if you just give me a few moments, I'll just transform the big one. Right, so just got the big one into his robot mode, and there we go with the small one. So if I just bring them up so they're about the same size. Yeah, there are some differences in the paint apps between the two. You look at the silver bits on the arms, like the biceps are a different colour. Legs, pretty close, just missing some of them silver paint apps. So yeah, and obviously the thighs are a different colour as well. So yeah, this one's got more paint on it, obviously, because it's the big toy, and this one is not quite so great. Now, if I were to compare this to Classic, which I reviewed last week, I mean, Classic, the robot mode looks really good, especially the legs. The legs are like virtually identical in the paint apps to the full size one, but this one not so much. Again, it's a thing. It's a mini toy. It's a cheap mini toy. It's made on a budget. You know, it's just exactly that. You know, they ain't going to throw a lot of money putting lots of paint apps on these things. It's the paint that's on it does enough to convey the look of the original character. I think it's good enough. So anyway, articulation. Now this is where this thing disappoints me, because the articulation on this thing is kind of restricted in a lot of areas. The original toy isn't great for articulation, but this one, nothing at the head. Shoulders on a ball joint, but because of the angle of the ball joint, they They sort of bend at an angle rather than, you know, sort of straight up and down, which is a bit weird. Elbows only go to about 45 degrees, which is disappointing. Nothing at the waist. Now the biggest disappointment on this thing is the hips. Now if you look, you can see it's got a square hip, and you see it moves around inside the waist, and it's got very restricted motion. It only goes forward about 45 degrees, back 45 degrees. So it's restricted in its motion there. He's also got stupidly short thighs as well. Going out, decent spread, and the ball joints are fairly secure on this figure. They don't tend to pop out as much as they do on some of the other Tobot V Mini figures. But the knees, I mean, 45 degrees on the knees. So yeah, the leg articulation is very restricted on this guy, and it's, I wouldn't say it's virtually impossible to get him into a decent dynamic pose in robot mode. And I tried for the thumbnail picture on this video, and I just couldn't do it, and it's a shame really. The big figure, it has got, you know, limited articulation on the elbows, 45 degrees. But the hips on this, it's got square hips, but they go forwards and back and out, so the hips are really good. Again, it's got the stupidly short thighs with the 45 degree knee angle, you know, so yeah. So some of the articulation has transferred over from the big toy to the little one, but it's a shame. It's not as articulated as I would have liked. You know, you can see in a few areas where they sort of cut out some plastic to give the joint clearance to get a greater amount of motion, like the hips, if they'd have hollowed out the this in here so that the thing could have angled forwards and backwards a bit more. It's a shame with the knees and the elbows. They could have done a bit more there to give it a little bit more articulation. But again, it's a simple, you know, cheap toy, and why would you go out of your way to do stuff like that? You know, you just want it to transform, which is its main gimmick. It's a transforming toy. Its main gimmick is it's got a car mode, it's got a robot mode, a little bit of articulation, and that's your lot. You know, it's that's all there is to it. Yeah, so on the whole, it's a decent looking little figure, missing paint apps, simplified engineering and articulation. It's all right. It's okay. If you can get one at a decent price, it's worth a shout. But again, you know, for people like me, trying to import these things from Korea, waste of time trying to buy them off, you know, the websites the likes of, you know, G Market and 11th Street, because they just overcharge on the shipping massively. They say, oh, this thing, you know, weighs over a kilo, so we got to charge you like you know, like 35 pounds on the postage, and it's ridiculous. So I'm buying them off eBay, and they're still overpriced. Buying them off eBay, I'm paying like around about sort of 25 quid for something like this, and it's size wise, I mean compare him to, you know, my usual size comparison, Combiner Wars Megatron, who's a full size leader class figure, and he's like that, and then you look at him next to a warrior class. You know, he's about the same size as a warrior class figure, so he's smaller than a deluxe. So there we go. That's been my review of Tobot V Mini Leo Kaiser. He's okay, a little disappointing. Articulation, you know, is disappointing. Paint apps, again, slightly disappointing. If you can get one on the cheap, then he's worth a shout, but otherwise, I'd give it a miss if I were you. So yeah, that's been my review of that, and that's my reviews done for this month. Like I said, moving on to March. Things are going to be going on in March. More toys to buy, more reviews to do. We'll see how that comes. So I've been Too Far Wilderness. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you all next time. Ta-da.